Pittsburgh Steelers could have their quarterback in play by the end of the NFL Combine. And as crazy as that sounds, it feels like things might be in motion as they head to Indianapolis. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackbine. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers are off to Indianapolis, where they will begin a week of scouting at the NFL Combine, and there are plenty of things to watch. What are their outlook when it comes to the center position? Is it just first and second round options, or are they exploring the entire class? What about offensive tackle, defensive tackle, punter, quarterback, wide receiver, corner? There are many of headlines to watch as the Pittsburgh Steelers begin their week-long journey in Indianapolis. But there is another storyline to watch, probably a bigger one to watch than anything that they will do when it comes to meetings or how they will address working with prospects during drills or so on and so forth. And that is their quarterback position, and that is Justin Fields. And I know at this point, there are a lot of people out there who are sitting around and going, I'm tired of Justin Fields talk. I'm tired of listening to this. This is 2 years ago when the Steelers were talking about quarterbacks and everybody brought up every name under the sun, and then they ended up with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. Chris Oldokun was sitting around, and for a second, people were actually excited about it. That's where the Steelers were. And I understand that. I understand that we've hit that point in the offseason where we are talking constantly about the quarterback situation and where the Pittsburgh Steelers could head and what they could do, and it's just a bunch of maybes. This time, it might actually come into fruition. This could be the first time where there is real tangible, it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. And honestly, for those of you who are waiting for the Justin Fields conversation to end, this week might be the week that it finally does. According to Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, there is a sense of urgency in Chicago to at least get the pieces of a trade in place during the NFL Combine. In other words, they should know who's going to acquire Justin Fields and what it's going to take to acquire Justin Fields by the time everybody leaves Indianapolis on Saturday. And well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to be tossed in there, and chances are they're going to talk, and chances are some negotiation is going to happen, but the question is whether or not that negotiation is going to actually lead to anything. Because there are different parts to this. There are different parts to this situation when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think it starts with the fact that, yes, I do believe that Omar Khan will sit down with Ryan Poole, GM of the Chicago Bears, and talk about what direction they'd like to go and what the Chicago Bears are looking for in a trade for Justin Fields. I don't think Omar Khan is the type of guy to just leave a stone unturned and move on and say, well, we didn't want Justin Fields in the first place. Even if somebody somewhere in the Steelers organization says, chances are we are not going to land Justin Fields, I still think Omar Khan is going to sit down and have that conversation just to get the groundwork in place and just to say, hey, this is what they're asking for. Are we willing to make this trade? Does it work out from there? It doesn't make any sense to just totally ignore it because they're a little quicker or a little sooner than the Pittsburgh Steelers were hoping for. So when it comes to that piece of the puzzle, the beginning piece, the conversation that could be had between two GMs when it comes to negotiating, yeah, I think Omar Khan will be involved. And I think the Steelers will have those conversations with Chicago and those front office members that are in Indy, and they will talk about what it's going to take to acquire Justin Fields. It doesn't mean that they're going to acquire Justin Fields. It doesn't mean that they even have a general interest or a big enough interest to make a move for Justin Fields. It just means that they will have that conversation. From there, the question becomes, do the Steelers make the move before free agency? Because that changes everything. Do you address your quarterback situation without having the opportunity to see if Mason Rudolph does come back? Do you look at it and say, well, Justin Fields is an immediate upgrade over Mason Rudolph? Is that the position, or is that the way that we should handle this? Because it's not a guarantee that Mason Rudolph does return to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And at that point, do you look at it and just say, well, Mason wants to explore free agency and see what opportunities are out there, so why should we wait around to see if he does want to come back to the Pittsburgh Steelers? This is a business. Business does not wait for anybody. And Mason Rudolph might miss his opportunity because the Steelers are pushed into a corner and said, hey, Justin Fields is available. The price works. Everything seems to be working in their favor. Why are they going to wait around for Mason Rudolph? That part makes sense. When it comes to the, do you wait around for free agency? Do you see what happens? I don't think Mason Rudolph's involved in that conversation. I don't think you wait for Mason Rudolph. I don't think the Steelers would even consider waiting for Mason Rudolph. I think they'd look at the situation and say, a quarterback is available right now. We are going to take advantage of that quarterback that fits our needs and somebody that we are interested in and somebody that we are capable of acquiring without really breaking the bank or giving up too much. We're going to make that move right now. Mason Rudolph, unfortunately, misses out in that situation. But there are other names out there. There's Kirk Cousins. There's Jimmy Garoppolo. There's Russell Wilson. And I think Russell Wilson and the new rumors from Mike Florio, you can never say that that's a report. You can only just say it's a rumor. The rumors of Mike Florio saying that Russell Wilson wants to win 2 Super Bowls and he's willing to probably take a league minimum deal with whoever he signs with next to try and win 2 Super Bowls, that comes into play. Because the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we have said a number of times, are a Super Bowl winning team right now. They are a team that can go in there and compete with the best of them if they had a quarterback. If they had a capable offense, they could probably make their way through the AFC North and then find themselves in competition with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals and whoever else you want to toss out there with a good quarterback and a good offensive coordinator. They've taken care of the coordinator part by hiring Arthur Smith. They have the talent around a quarterback. They just need a quarterback. And if Russell Wilson's willing to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers for $1.29 million, you can't beat that deal. You literally cannot beat that deal. Maybe that's in their head. Maybe somewhere along the line, the rumor was told to them, or maybe they've had conversations with Russell Wilson's agent. But again, you have to bring into play that Russell Wilson is still a member of the Denver Broncos. And maybe the Denver Broncos are not going to find themselves in an ideal situation to move on from Russell Wilson. And maybe they keep him. And then the Steelers are left without a quarterback or with Kenny Pickett and no competition for a quarterback, sitting around saying, well, what if we traded for Justin Fields? Things would have worked out differently. They don't want to be stuck in the what ifs. They also don't want to be stuck in the what ifs of, well, we traded for Justin Fields, but what if we waited for Russell Wilson? What if Kirk Cousins decided he was coming to Pittsburgh and he was ready to win a Super Bowl and he was going to take a deal because of it? What if Mason Rudolph was the next great quarterback and the Steelers just didn't wait around for him? There's a lot of what ifs. All I'm saying is this. When it comes to Indianapolis and this week and when it comes to the Justin Fields talk, I lay it out pretty simply. I do expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to have those conversations and those negotiations. I do expect Omar Khan to do his due diligence when it comes to Justin Fields and acquiring the Chicago Bears quarterback. And I do think that there is a very slight possibility that, yes, a deal does get done at the NFL Combine where the Pittsburgh Steelers believe they have just landed Justin Fields as their quarterback. I believe all of that could possibly happen. And I think all of that up until getting a deal done almost certainly will happen. From there, it's about how cautious they're going to be, how cautious Art Rooney wants to be in the situation, how cautious Mike Tomlin wants to be in the situation, how cautious Arthur Smith wants to be in the situation, and how much Omar Khan believes that the Steelers can land somebody else outside of Justin Fields and who that name is, because who that name is plays a major role. If it is a name big enough and capable enough and with enough upside that the Steelers say it is worth waiting around, it is worth taking the risk, and we feel confident we will land him, they'll wait it out. If not, and the Bears are really rushing, and the Steelers make a lot of sense, you just never know what could happen when a group of GMs get together in Indianapolis.